Hello everyone, Jared here, and thanks for checking out this recap and review of Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference right here on Gamerslice. This is actually the first of the E3 2017 videos that have been recorded after the almost 2-month-long break that you might have noticed on the channel. But despite the untimeliness of these later E3 videos, I'm still going to do them nonetheless to complete the coverage. So this year marked Bethesda's third E3 press conference, which was branded Bethesda Land, and to be honest, I actually really liked the Bethesda Land theme, although in the end what Bethesda delivered was kind of a letdown, because truth be told, they probably didn't need to hold a conference this year. Most of what they showed revolved around games we already know about, or they've already been released, and there's follow-up content or updates being provided for them, or maybe it was another project that we had heard about, but there's just some tiny details that they're sharing on it. But nothing too substantial, no new IPs or anything like that. The biggest announcements this year were The Evil Within 2, which we had heard rumors about, as well as Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, which I believe might have been teased last year during a boot sequence for the intro of their conference. But more on that later in this video. Bethesda kicked off their conference this year talking about Doom VR and Fallout 4 VR. We already knew about these prior to this year's conference, but it was nice to see like a little more of like how they're going to work in action. Doom VR in specific I think interests me because it seems like a perfect fit with the snap map tool already integrated in the game, because it makes these like shorter arcade levels that it's kind of like a build your own Doom VR experience really. Fallout VR also looks kind of interesting, but I'm curious how enjoyable it will be to traverse the world with the VR mechanics given to you. The way it is right now makes it seem like it could get really annoying, you know, after maybe just a few hours, kind of having to teleport all over the place. That being said, it did look better than what I expected it to, so it might be worth a shot when it comes out. Between the two, though, Doom is a much more natural fit for VR. After that, they decided to talk a little about Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind, which, of course, if you played Elder Scrolls Online, then you already know about this. But as far as I can tell, they haven't added anything new to this expansion. It's just, I guess, an announcement at E3 that the expansion is out. Go play it. The next announcement, however, was fairly major, and it generated quite a bit of controversy, and that is the launch of Creation Club coming this summer. Now, if you heard anything about paid mods around the time of E3, this is what it was. Basically, Creation Club is a mod store, either in-game or on Bethesda.net, in which users use credits to purchase either mods, like official mods created by Bethesda themselves, or mods made by creators partnered with Bethesda through the Creation Club program. Now, of course, the controversy isn't centered around the official support of mods for Bethesda games, but around the credit system that will be used to purchase said mods. And at the moment, no details have been released of how you earn those credits, if they are earnable, or if you have to pay actual cash for them. My guess is that they might offer some method of obtaining these credits without paying actual currency, but chances are there is definitely going to be some sort of system put in place for you to pay actual money to get the credits. Really, it's all going to come down to how much do the credits cost and how much do they get you. Now, up to this point, mods have been free for everybody, no matter the mod. As far as I know, I don't know of any way to access paid mods for Bethesda games. And of course, having to pay for mods kind of sucks. But the good part of this is that because you have to pay for them, they're supposed to be high quality mods, meaning they are fully compatible with all their type of mods. So it sounds like Bethesda will actually screen them, make sure they work properly and don't break like official game content or break other mods that are on the Creation Club store. And furthermore, it sounds like in game achievements through Steam or Xbox like Gamerscore or trophies for PlayStation will still be obtainable when using these official mods bought through the Creation Club. So even though there's a bit of uproar in response to this, I'm actually okay with it as long as the quality of the mods is there, as long as they interface properly with the other mods like they said they would, and as long as the credits are reasonably priced. And I would also hope that there would be some other method, maybe not as it wouldn't be as effective as actually purchasing the credits, but there would be some method to earn a small number of credits without paying real money. And if you think about it, this actually assures us that mods will be around for much longer, because if a creator can upload a mod and get paid for it, then that's encouragement to create more of them. And since this is a curated process, we probably won't have a lot of people flooding the Creation Club store with a bunch of shit mods that are overpriced and just cash grabs. Chances are most of them will be good quality mods that are as good as or even better than some of the stuff we've already been seeing. But this is the major part of the video that I would like to hear your guys' response to. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Creation Club, and are paid mods in this context, are they fair, and would you actually pay money for these mods, assuming they are good quality and they live up to all the promises that Bethesda has mentioned going along with Creation Club. So that's it for that, and Creation Club is coming this summer to all platforms, being Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Next up, we had a small announcement for the cross-platform release of Elder Scrolls Legend. It is now cross-compatible between mobile devices and PC, so that's good news. I've played it. I actually think it's a pretty solid card game. It doesn't have to distinguish itself between like Magic and Hearthstone and stuff like that, but I have heard from some sources that it's not really performing up to snuff with those. So honestly, if you're a fan of like trading card games or CCGs, go check out Elder Scrolls Legends if you haven't already. It's actually a pretty solid game, and I think you would like it. Now, I would like you to think about how many times over the past few years have you heard Bethesda talking about Skyrim, and you wonder, why won't they just let it kind of be there? It's a great game. Just put it in the past, move on. Well, I wonder that a lot myself, and apparently Bethesda still doesn't want to let it go. They're still talking about Skyrim because it is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And I guess that's good news that there's like a majorly successful, like highly praised game coming to the Switch, because considering it doesn't have a whole lot of third-party support at the moment. But I honestly don't know who's gonna really buy it. It's not like people that are Nintendo fans were really begging for it on the Switch. So yeah, but I guess there's that, and it's got some interesting functionality with the Joy-Cons, but it almost seems like it might be more of a nuisance to play than actually fun. So I would assume you could actually use the Joy-Cons, or just use it in tablet mode or hooked into the dock in some way that doesn't make you use the motion control type stuff. But anyways, there's that for you. Now next up is the first thing in the conference that was really something I was interested in, and that is the announcement of Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. Apparently there had been some sort of announcement for it, prior to the conference, but that was the first time that I heard about it, and it's coming September 15th. So in Dishonored: Death of the Outsider, you play as Billy Lurk, who, if you play Dishonored 2, is Megan Foster, the boat lady, and she's also a key character in the book Dishonored: The Corroded Man, which I have not finished reading yet, but so far it's been maybe slightly above average or around average for a video game book. Still kind of interesting, and I think Billy Lurk seems to be an intriguing character to play. Some of her abilities look pretty cool, and who knows, I might actually like her better than Emily. I thought Emily was pretty good as a character. Some of her abilities were kind of cool, but overall I would still prefer to play as Corvo in a Dishonored game. Assuming that I would have to pick between characters that I already know. So that's why I'm really happy to play Billy Lurk, because it's a new character, new set of abilities. I'm more than willing to try it out. Or more accurately, I'm excited. But the cool thing about that too is it's going to be a $30 release, so kind of expect something like a standalone DLC for Dishonored 2. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any gameplay, and it was just a trailer instead. After that, we sort of had a Quake Champions announcement of some sort. It was kind of like a esports history, and kind of a nod to the fact that Quake and just the games associated with Bethesda and id Software and whatnot were the games that started esports. So just a nod to that, and imagine Quake Champions will probably see a release sometime right after QuakeCon this year, which I'm not really sure when it is, but that's probably when it'll come out, but wasn't anything really substantial. So now we're moving into the final stages of the conference, where they actually announced some noteworthy stuff, starting with The Evil Within 2. It's slated for release on Friday, October 13th, which, if I do say so myself, goes along pretty well with the horror vibe, since it's Friday the 13th. And the amount of stuff they showed for this game was quite substantial. We didn't get any gameplay, but there was a roughly 4-minute and 30-second long trailer to go with it, which contained lots of, shall we say, cryptic elements that I think hyped up the game pretty well and got piqued people's interest towards the game. Due to the cryptic nature, though, I'm not really sure I know too much of what it's going to be about. I think it's a direct sequel to The Evil Within, though. The first game was never really on my radar, and I probably won't play the second one anytime soon, but might be something I'll look into later on down the line. The final game they showed was Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, coming out October 27. Cool thing about this one is it's actually a direct sequel to the first one, which a lot of people seem to have died at the end of the first game. minor spoilers, I guess. So they might have some unanswered questions that need to be answered in the beginning of this one to explain like how is this happening. But BJ Blazkowicz is certainly, showing signs that he's went through a lot. So I mean, he's actually in a wheelchair in this one, and there's some cool gameplay that they showed off, gameplay in a trailer, so it's not unedited gameplay, but they showed off of him actually like shooting guns in the wheelchair and everything. So pretty cool. I don't know if somebody was pushing him or if they worked in a way to allow him to like push himself, but that seems like it'd be kind of hard to do. The cool thing about this though is that it's actually, I mean, sort of cool thing. It's Nazi-occupied U.S. That's not cool in and of itself, but the concept is interesting, and just being like seeing the clashing of like 1950s era, late 1940s era America clashing with Nazi culture is very interesting. I think this game has a lot of potential to be like one of like the best take back the homeland fighting games that we've seen to date, and pairing that with the Wolfenstein title is pretty good. Now I'll conclude my commentary on Wolfenstein with two final things. First of all, I would just say there's not a whole lot I can just say about the trailer. Honestly, if you just go watch it for yourselves, if it's something you're interested in, the trailer kind of shows you everything. You can make up your mind about that. If there was actual gameplay, if I had played it, I'd probably share more about it, but that's all I can say about it for now. And then two, I'd say if it's not on your, well, maybe if it is on your radar, but there's a lot of other games that you're going to be getting this holiday season, and Wolfenstein 2 just doesn't make the cut, but you're interested in it, I would still strongly encourage you on one of the holiday sales coming up, if you haven't already played them, to pick up Wolfenstein The New Order and the standalone prequel, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, because they're certain to be on sale for pretty cheap, like $5 or $10, and they're really great FPSs, both of them, which you don't want to miss out on if you've been itching to play an FPS with like a good solid single player campaign. Also, the trailer for Wolfenstein 2 is pretty funny, so even if you don't think you'll be interested in the game, still go watch it because you might have a laugh. Or two. Or three. Now before moving on to the conclusion, I do want to mention something that I forgot to mention at the beginning, which was the opening to the conference before they started talking about any of the games or other projects. They had a short film, which was a bunch of the developers' kids talking about like what their parents do and everything, which I thought was a good way of like showing that, hey, these developers, they're human too, they have families or whatever. And because I think sometimes gaming community can be overly hostile and demanding at times, and then also I think it's good just to show that, hey, maybe this is something you're interested in, like you can have this job and you can, your kids maybe like be like, yeah, my dad's awesome, he or my mom's awesome, they make video games, and so I don't know, I thought that was pretty good. And then they opened up with a nice kind of sizzle reel at the beginning afterwards, which if you watched the live coverage that me and Diego did of it, it wasn't that great of commentary, and we were being overly harsh at that point. And in retrospect, I actually think that it was good to have both of those two opening short clips before they came on stage. So in conclusion, Bethesda didn't really reveal too much. They do have a couple new IPs in the works, but they didn't actually reveal any of those, so it was a bit of a disappointment. But we did get Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein The New Colossus, and for me, I enjoyed hearing about Dishonored Death of the Outsider, which I still might not have known about if it wasn't for that. Or at least I wouldn't have known about it as soon as I did. But when you look at how long they were on stage, which was only around 35 minutes or so, probably didn't justify having a conference this year. They probably could have just maybe made an appearance at E3 and had a small live stream at some point in time, just reviewing a couple of these new games like Wolfenstein 2 and The Evil Within 2, but it didn't really justify actually taking up the stage for 35 minutes since they didn't have much to show. That being said, what they did show, they showed it quite well. I mean, I guess you can say for one thing it was short. I mean, it didn't get people super bored from being long. I mean, some people might have been bored because they didn't see what they wanted to see, but it didn't overextend, so I guess there's that. So, in conclusion, final verdict for Bethesda's E3 2017 conference is a solid B. Bethesda presented what they had well, though they would have benefited from some clarification with the whole Creation Club announcement, and preferably they would have had a few more substantial announcements of new IPs and what they're working on, or just not done a conference. But hey, it wasn't too bad. It was okay. So that's it for Bethesda. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments, specifically about the Creation Club thing I mentioned earlier. And until next time, we hope to see you guys in the next video.